Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a message that I received, and the message reads like this. You know what? I really remember the first time that I felt the thrill of stepping out like a real slay queen. I had everything, your designer clothes, expensive perfume, and always getting the attention of men. It was a world that I had only ever seen on social media. I used to scroll through Instagram, watching girls who seemed to have everything, who went to all the right places, wore the best clothes, and always seemed so happy. I would wonder how they were able to do this, how they would make it look so effortlessly, and eventually I decided that I wanted that life too. I wanted to be someone that others envied. It all started with my friends. We would talk about fashion, makeup, and the latest trends. A couple of my friends were already living that soft life, the one where every weekend was a chance to go to a new club or a new event dressed in outfits that cost more than my monthly rent. They would talk about their blessers. Yes, indeed. The first time that I ever saw my friend with a rich blesser, I knew that this was the life that I wanted. You know, dating a blesser, it is something that is quite different. Like, you get to experience real life. It seemed like they had it all. They would look at me, laughing, telling me, like, come on, you have the looks, you could be living this life too. At first, I laughed it off. I was not going to rely on anyone to pay my way. I had always been independent, prided myself on working for what I had, but soon their words began to stick with me. The idea of having everything that I wanted, of not worrying about the bills, of living in the moment, it started to sound so appealing. I told myself that I'll just do it just a little bit, just enough, try it out. So I started buying clothes, shoes, bags, whatever I thought will get me noticed. But those were not just any clothes, they were expensive. The type of items that catch people's eyes. I would see something online or in a store, and even if it cost more than I could afford, I would find a way to buy it. I started opening up credit cards, maxed out limits, and justified it by telling myself that I would pay it off later. After all, it was an investment, was it not? A way to build my own image, to start living the life that I wanted. It was really working. You know, the moment that you start dressing up, always taking care of you, it attracts men to you. Men, they love women that are always good looking. And I was getting invited to different events, meeting new people, as well as my social media was blowing up, and I felt like I was finally being seen. I would post pictures from clubs, dinners, shopping sprees, getting hundreds of likes and comments. I even started dating this other guy who had a big page on Facebook simply because I wanted him to post me on his page. It felt good to have people admire my life, to ask me how I was managing to survive so well. I was hooked, but each and every time when I'll be with a different blesser, with a different request, it felt so strange, really strange. You know, when you start sleeping with men for money, at first it is really interesting, but then there are those men that will make it known to you that you are only with them simply because of your cookie, nothing else. There was one who told me that he has the ability to date women that can bring something that is more than a good booty and a good cookie on the table, and I was more like a liability to him since he gives me a lot of money. That made me to feel useless. Indeed, it made me to feel really useless. So I did not tell anyone about this, but I started to fall into depression, and the only way that I could get out of this depression was buying more and more stuff. I was trapped in that cycle, spending more and showing off, and that was when the debt started piling up. I did not tell anyone how much I was spending, not even my closest friend. I did not want them to see the struggle behind my smile. I would look at my bank account, watch the bills pile up, and I would ignore those friendly reminders of the bank telling me to pay up in time, telling myself that I would pay it off someday. I convinced myself that once I built my following, I was going to get myself like a rich blesser. The problem now is that there are so many women out there, so much that as a slay queen, you cannot make enough, because a man can sleep with you, promise you heaven and earth, but when he walks out, immediately he can go maybe on a dating platform, hook up with another girl, give that girl maybe just a couple of bucks, and he moves on. That is the problem. Women out there, they do not have morals anymore. They just sleep with whomever they want to. So for us who are dedicated to this life, we can't make money anymore. The truth is, I am sinking fast each and every time, paying minimum on my cards, using one to cover another, juggling payments just to keep up appearance. And then I met this other man, now the man that I am dating. This man, he has since promised me a good life, but he has told me that he is a cultural Zulu man. And when he said that, I said, okay, that is fine. But he once took me to his other house. He has a house there in Durban. We drove all the way from Gauteng. And then when we arrived at his house, it was really scary. The place, even though it is in the suburbs, that house, no one even takes care of it. The moment that we walked into that house, I even knew that I was going to get flu after sleeping in that house. There was just dust everywhere. I told him that it was far much better for us to go to the hotel or at least a guest house. I was even willing to pay. He said, no, we will spend the night here. This man, instead of us sleeping on the bed, we ended up sleeping on the cold floor. He told me that this was a way of thanking his ancestors who died poor. So sometimes he comes back to his house and pretend as if he is a poor man. But I know that there is more to this. The next day, we went out and we bought a goat and we slaughtered this goat. It was somewhere around 5 p.m. So he said that he was going to finish slaughtering and cutting this goat, but he then came back indoors and he never went outside. Throughout the night, I would hear that there was something that was busy eating the meat that we had left outside. I could hear the bones being chewed. Right now, Brother Nashi, I am so scared of this man, but the man has since told me and promised me that everything he has said, it is going to be okay. So I am here looking for advice. Must I continue with this old man? He is the only one that is helping me in this life, because on my own, I can't even manage. Please assist me. I will be following through in the comment section. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear sister. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world. Yo.